Hello, TOC Town. This is Lady Nick in the studio with,
Cicely Wilson.
and we are discussing Chief Artisans on Thursday. And Cicely is part of Passions International, and she stopped by our studio today to introduce us to her small business organization. So, Cicely, go ahead and take it away.
Okay, everyone. Hello. Thank you for having me. Again, I am Cicely Victoria Wilson, and I am the founder and owner of Passion International LLC. And Passion International is an entity in which includes several different structures, but our primary focus for right now is in the area of life coaching and counseling. And the purpose of that entity, the whole mission of Passion International, is to recover, reclaim undiscovered, underdeveloped, or lost or stolen voices. And when I say the word voice, what I'm speaking to is the identity or the true being of a person. And so my passion is to really bring about the development of a person. I'm all about taking a person from good to great. And so, making sure that they know their truest essence and value to humanity and purpose here on the earth. And so, in the way of life coaching and counseling, what we do, and I'm known as a pathfinder. So, who I help are those who have a conflicted sense of direction to create a path or align their path towards peace, purpose, and passion. So, in the culture, I'm known as an identity alignment coach, and but better known as the Pathfinder, which is easier. So that is the essence of Passion International LLC in the life coaching and counseling entity. We love working with adolescents and young adults, preferably in order to set them up for the greatest success in their lives. Of course, we are no stranger to adult populations as well. We really just love the development of people and making sure that they understand who they are and have a voice in order to align their paths towards what they are purposed to do in the earth. So that's Passion International and me in a nutshell.
Awesome. Well, let's get to know you personally a little better, and then we can get to know the people that you serve also. One thing I wanted to know from you is, as a professional, you personally focus on teens, from what I understand, but what's your background and how you got motivated into doing what you're doing as the Pathfinder?
Sure, certainly. Well, my professional background is that of an educator. I've been a teacher for the past 14 years in the areas of middle school and high school. So I have a lot of experience working with youth, and I absolutely love them. They're my favorite people to work with and to be around. And that is where it started. And then I began to work with teachers on a one-on-one basis as a coach for a company I used to work for by the name of Tanglewood Research. And they piloted a program within Chicago Public Schools in which I was a coach for, or actually I was a teacher for within the classroom with my students. And then the company hired me directly to be a coach to work with the teachers and to be the quote unquote expert in the field of prevention specialists and their program by the name of All Stars. So that is where my desire for coaching and counseling in that arena began to take on a whole different passion and fervor, if you will. So I really began to see myself in a new vein as a professional. Not that I didn't love myself as a teacher in the classroom, it was just different. And I saw a new fire that I wasn't able to experience the same way in the classroom. So, with that being said, I went back to obtain my master's, actually a double master's in counseling, in which I was going to afterward. I attended ORU, Oral Roberts University, for that purpose, and then went on to attend Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching, otherwise known as IPEC, in order to become a certified coach with that. So my ultimate desire is to marry the private practice of counseling and coaching together, whether it be similar clientele or distinct towards those ends. So that has arrived me to where I am today in my entrepreneurial endeavors with Passion International.
Okay, you talked about having a fire. One thing that we try and do in TOC Town is keep our small business owners motivated. And
Mhm.
you primarily work, from what I understand, in the mental health industry. How do you
Yeah.
keep yourself motivated? Because I know every day is not the same, and
Mhm.
how do you keep your people motivated?
Well, good question. I believe sometimes it's easier to keep my people motivated than keeping myself motivated.
Yes.
And I hate that that is the case. I'm like, what is this irony that I can, usually be such a bright light of inspiration and motivation towards others, but yet, when you turn inward to do that for yourself, it's not as impactful all of the time because the saying goes, that we're our worst critics, right?
I
So
know we need to wear a sign some days that say, I need motivation today. My turn.
exactly, exactly. So I do that in whatever capacity that is relevant for myself. And what I mean when I say that, that it speaks to the spaces that I am now in life. So, whether it be in areas in which I need to improve or that I have not as great awareness of in being an entrepreneur, but can sharpen. So being around those type of energies, reading up on resources that speak to that, being around the people who have walked in those paths already and gleaning from them, that these are ways in which I motivate myself. I am a lifelong learner, love to learn, love to ingest just things that matter to me and are relevant. So I'm a sponge in that regard. So that's really how I do it as far as motivating myself. Absolutely, always leaning upon my heavenly father and he's my number one inspirator. And so just really leaning into how I can be distinct, keep fresh, be different, yet relevant, and then also meet the needs of society. Because what my organization is about, it's really just, it's not something to do. I began the organization for the efforts of meeting a need that I felt was underserved,
Right.
and that needed to be addressed. And this is in the areas of identity, primarily conceptually. And so it is why we do what we do, because I love people so much and I love them to be produced into their best selves. And so that is truly how I do it and how I motivate others. Now, when it comes to others, it's based on what their needs are. That's another thing that I hold very importantly, is that when I'm servicing a people, it's about those people. It's not about what it is or my agenda or what it is I desire to get done. I really, even when I was a teacher in the classroom, I stayed sensitive to my students, and really they brought the material that we would encounter and engage for that day. Now, of course, I always have plans to do, but I never allow myself to be so rigid to a plan or to an agenda that I'm not sensitive to the flow of what is needed in that space, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It makes
So
perfect
I
sense.
really like to remain like that. I'm like that as a coach, as a counselor, as a teacher, as a speaker, and whatever capacity that I'm functioning in as a person, really in life, because it really, I believe, serves the greatest needs, and that is the availability to the other person and the deference to another person, which I believe is lacking a lot in our society today. But I.
Ladies and Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening for part one of Chief Artisan Thursday with Cicely V. Wilson of Passion International. Stay tuned because we have a part two.